Hey YouTube, Doc's Motorcycle Service. Rawr, 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 rawr. Welcome back to the shop. YouTube, here we are on this date in the real world. And we have done so much. And I'm remiss that I didn't take more videos, but as I mentioned in a previous video, everything that was going on with the editing software, it really sucked the joy out of my life. I did not get in a depressed state, but I was depressed that I had started this progress and could not finish it, could not finish sharing it with y'all, because I feel like there's some good stuff in it, some good stuff that's going to help you. As I've always said, my target audience is not that person who came out of the vagina all-knowing, all knowledgeable, all whatever, but that guy like me that had a good basic foundation of understanding along with an ample amount of comprehension and application, who could take and read a book and perform a service, who could watch a video and increase their knowledge, who could read a book, watch a video, buy some tools, and save themselves some money. That's been my mantra from the beginning. That's my target audience, and I really wanted to be able to share that with you. But what we were able to do was piece together some pictures, and strangely enough, I found a little video that I had shot that allowed me to put that video together with some pictures to bring you the final segment of new shop construction. And that's what we're doing today, the workbench and the walls. So let's go ahead and take a look at those pictures and videos, YouTube. Come on, YouTube, let's get to getting. Here we are in the garage. We got Donna. She's coming out of the shop. We got her back up on the lift. This was right after the floor covering video, and if you click on the little link up there, you should be able to see that video. And I'm telling you, YouTube, man, that floor turned out like a champ. You can see here in the, like I had mentioned at the end of that video, that over time it just blended in perfectly, no dark spots, everything looked great. So happy with it, so happy with the way that turned out. And we just continued to unpack stuff and bring it into the shop to get it out of storage and figure out where we wanted to be at. Now this picture here, this picture is kind of important because we're going to talk about the workbenches and the walls, and right now we're going to focus on the workbench. So my ultimate goal here was to have a workbench. I mean, so this is a planning tip, tech tip, whatever you want to call it, tip. You want to maximize your space in your shop. And I may have said this one time before, but you ride down the road and you see everybody's got these really nice buildings and they got 3 roll down doors on them. You know what? That's nice. That's great. I mean, if you got 3 vehicles that you're only doing oil changes on, that you don't need to do a lot of work on, that's great. You know, put your motorcycle in one, your pickup truck in the other one, and your hot rod on the other one, and then build your bar area or an office area on the other end. Bam, that's you. You do you. I've always said this. You do you. Me, when I look at those buildings, I go, what a waste of wall space. Okay? Where you've got them 2 roll-up doors that are typically 10 foot high and or 8 foot high and 12 foot long. That's lost storage space. And YouTube, if I got a lot of stuff. Me and Linda got a lot of stuff. So in an effort to make the maximum best use of space, looking at this picture, I decided that I wanted my roll around toolboxes to be able to slide under the workbench. Fair enough. So by process of elimination, your workbench needs to be higher than your tallest workbench or your tallest toolbox. So the black toolbox here in this picture is the one that set the standard for how high and how far off the ground we needed to go with the workbench. And if I'm not badly mistaken, if you look real hard there, I'll try to zoom in a little harder, you'll see the very first bracket on the wall there mounted to help us determine the height of the benches, or the height. So this is what we did. This is how we mocked this thing up. So you basically got two boards, and your top board, your horizontal board, is using an L bracket, just like we used on the brackets for the walls for the exterior lights. And again, you can see part of the L here on the wall support, and the other half is on the bottom of this 2x4. This held the foundation for the workbench itself. And then what we did was, after attaching that guy to the vertical wall support, we then came over with another 2x4 and we mounted that one to the front of that support, drilled a hole through both of them, and put a bolt, 2 flat washers, and a nut to hold it right there. And then at the bottom, we did basically the same thing to mount it to this wall support, the bench support itself, whatever you want to call it. And we mounted that with a bolt, and it worked out great, because what this does is, and tech tip real quick, make sure that your horizontal or your angled support is flush with your horizontal support so you have a good fit. We decided to try to save a little bit of money by using OSB board here, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But this is the first piece on the end by the refrigerator, by the bar. And I'll tell you why we were putting board there, but we did not put board all the way down the front of it. So we're making some progress, or all the way down the wall where the toolboxes are going to be. Making some progress. This is me cutting these boards and getting them shaped up, ready to go on. It's nice to have proper tools. The saw here helped me cut the proper angles. This is us putting it into the corner, and you know, working on these things at nights and on the weekends can be kind of tough sometimes, because that's all the time that you got. So we're starting to get some stuff up now. We're going to put 2x4s on the top of it to run across the back and the front to give the actual work surface several places to attach. You can see here we've got boards up down by the refrigerator. We've got our supports up. We're moving our toolboxes around. Everything seems to be working the way that we want it to. Sometimes you come out one day and you get tired of working on one thing, so you want to go work on something else. We're pulling stuff out of storage and finding the TV. Had to get that up there. We decided to go ahead and work on the front of the building, and the hard part here was cutting holes in the boards to go around the boxes. For example, right here, all we had to do was poke a hole through the board and put the garage door opener on it. But in these other two pictures, you'll see that we actually had to notch the wood to go around the boxes that were already on the wall. And sometimes those notches got a little big. Well, we are certainly making some headway here. Got our shelf down here, workspace that's going to be running down the back wall here from bay 2, 3, and down the 4. Went in with some 2x4 studs here, and this was kind of interesting, because it's just a little bit of a money saving tip here, if you will. So this area over in here, let's say from here to here is going to be where the big toolboxes roll up and down. Over in here is going to be underneath storage, and these shelves up here, part of these right here, are going to be where the woodworking stuff's going to be. So with OSB board being $49 a sheet right now, and if you don't know what OSB board is, it is, rednecks call it press wood, and that's what I've always called it myself. It's just pieces of chipped up wood that is mixed together with water and glue and then pressed together for a thickness. This is 1/2 inch, 4 foot by 8 foot press wood. It was $49 a sheet. 2 years ago, it was like $9 a sheet. Since I'm gonna have big toolboxes back here, I didn't need any wood over here to protect the insulation. And what we're doing now is finishing up that work shelf, but things get complicated. You know how things always are, things going to be complicated. So, as you might have guessed, this is a flat screen wall mount for a TV. And we're going to put it up right here. The problem is that we've run into is there's nothing in between these areas to really work with. So what I decided to do was, just like I took L brackets here on these 2x4s and created a mount for the exterior motion light, I'm going to do the same thing from here to here in this corner. And we'll probably have to use 2 because you can't really tell how big this thing is, but I mean, I'll wear an 11. So we're going to have to run a 2x4 across the top for the top part to mount to, and we're going to have to run a 2x4 down here for that. I will tell you that this right here is my attempt at Photoshop. We ended up having to put 2 up, which gave us a good solid support for the TV. I've taken that 4 foot by 8 foot plywood and I measured from the middle of this beam to the middle of this beam, and then cut it so this piece attaches here and here. This piece has a nice area to attach here, and then the new piece starts here and goes on down. The press wood, the OSB board, is just it's something to cover these spaces here so we can come back with the actual wood that you're going to see in the building. In essence, it's all going to kind of sort of look like this front wall here. And the plan is to come in with some type of material and put over this. Linda and my idea is to make the shop look new on the outside, but make it look old on the inside. And we're thinking about some repurposed tin off of an old barn, some wood wall pieces off of an old barn, or using some type of piney wood up here. But we'll get into that. The panel is actually sitting off the wall. You saw it there in the last photo. So what we ended up doing was just taking 2x4s. You can see one right there on the panel. And here's a tech tip. I use leftover pieces of OSB board to box in or frame in. Well, I framed it in with 2x4s, but I boxed it in with leftover pieces of the OSB board. And you can see here, as we just put the pieces in, you can see the piece there near the outlet and the other piece, and then we close that area up, and then we put in 2 more pieces of 2x4s, and we put that piece in, and Bob's your uncle. It's all nice and sealed up flush now with the rest of the wall and level with the other wall pieces. There's Linda. My gosh, Linda was out here. There we are making progress. Linda was cutting the work surface for the workbenches, and we've got that up now, and we've got that entire wall closed up, and we got the TV in there. Just doing our thing. Got this wall finished up and went ahead and closed it up over the walk-in door to make that end flush. We bought about 15 pieces of this OSB board when it was $49 a sheet. I've already mentioned that, but it still burns a hole in me when I have to think about it. You know, just steadily getting at it, and it's done. It's done. Well, YouTube, as I said, it's done, and this is kind of interesting. I won't say it's emotional, but it's almost like a box has been checked. I just said it there in the previous segment. It's done. The building is done. It's not done, okay, because we still need to go back and figure out what we're going to put over this wood. We need to finish in this wall over here. We've got to finish the wall in over there, but that's going to happen when prices come back down and we figure out what we want to do down there, because what we put around the 3 walls here, we don't want the same thing down there in the bar. We want to break it up a little bit. And you know, it's done, and I'm grateful that I was able to work out. I'm thankful that I was able to work out the video problems, and I'm grateful for those of you that have been here along the way. I hope you learned something from this. And the last thing that occurred to me as I was walking back over here to change locations with the camera was this, probably the last tech tip of this series. Check with your homeowners association and see, or no, I'm sorry, check with your home insurance company, your provider, your insurance carrier, and find out if you need additional insurance for your shop. Now, if you've got a $500 thin metal building with nothing but shovels and stuff in it, and your homeowners don't cover that, I wouldn't get too bent out of shape about that. But you know, if you've got a $20,000 building with, I don't know, $20,000 worth of stuff in it, and your homeowner's insurance doesn't automatically attach to that, then you might want to think about a separate policy, because you don't want to put all that work and effort and your prized possessions in a building and not have insurance on it. Just a little tech tip. But as always, you do you. So YouTube, I appreciate you sticking around through this series of videos on Doc's Motorcycle Service. Linda and I are very grateful to our Lord who provided this opportunity for us to have a building and provided the building for us to be able to do our hobbies in. You know, some people have asked, does Linda not have her own hobbies? Yeah, Linda has her own hobbies, but Linda and I are kind of unique. We get along very well. The Lord blessed us with each other, and we enjoy doing a lot of stuff together. And she's been around during this period, but work has been stupid for me, my real job, and I've only been able to get out here on occasions. And when I did have those occasions to get out here, Linda was at work, and I wanted to get this finished up. So we're done. We talked about what we're going to be doing in the future. If I get an opportunity to share that with you, I will. If not, Donna's right here on the lift. We're going to get her cleaned up, and we're going to get a couple things done to her, and we're going to start unboxing all this stuff back here that you can't see, and we're going to get to getting. But as always, YouTube, I appreciate you coming by the shop. Rate, comment, share, ride safe, handle your business, save some money, and cut.